Let me tell you about two guys who both started with the same $1,000. First guy is Marcus. He's 27, lives in Memphis, Tennessee, works at a distribution warehouse, making $46,000 a year. About 4 years ago, his grandmother passed and left him exactly $1,000. He thought about investing it, but wasn't sure where to start, and honestly, the whole thing felt complicated and a little scary. So he did what most people do. He left it sitting in a regular savings account at his bank, earning basically nothing. That $1,000 is still there today. It's now worth about $1,042. 4 years, $42 in growth. Second guy is Devin. Same age, similar background, grew up 2 cities over in Nashville. When Devin got a $1,000 tax refund 3 years ago, he opened a Roth IRA at Fidelity in about 15 minutes on his lunch break. He put the whole thing into a single S&P 500 index fund, the Fidelity Zero Large Cap Index Fund, which charges literally zero in fees. He set up automatic dividend reinvestment, and then, critically, he kept adding just $83 a month on top. He did not check the account obsessively, he did not panic when the market had rough stretches, he just let the math run. Devin's account today is sitting at just over $5,800 in 3 years, and he's on a trajectory that the numbers say will cross $10,000 within another 2 to 3 years without him doing anything differently. Same starting point, completely different outcomes. Not because Devin got lucky, not because Devin is smarter, not because Devin has some secret advantage Marcus doesn't. The only difference is that Devin understood 3 things Marcus didn't: where to put the money, how to structure it, and how to leave it alone. And here's what makes this so important right now. According to a 2026 guide on investing $1,000 invested in an S&P 500 index fund and left alone for 30 years at the index's historical average annual return of roughly 10% grows to approximately $17,449. That is a 17 times return from doing nothing after the initial purchase. And the S&P 500 has averaged 10.68% annually since its launch in 1957, according to smart asset data through late 2025. Through wars, recessions, market crashes, pandemics, and political chaos, every single time. If you add just $83 a month on top of that initial $1,000 investment, the math explodes. That same 30-year scenario turns into over $207,000, of which $176,000 is pure compound growth, money your money earned without you lifting a finger. Total cash you put in out of pocket, $30,880. Total ending value, $207,458. That gap is compound interest. And the title of this video says $10,000, not $207,000, because this video is about the first step, the real, realistic, unsexy, no luck required path from $1,000 to $10,000 that anyone with a phone, an internet connection, and the discipline to not touch the account can actually walk. Let's break it down. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now, because every week we break down exactly how everyday Americans can build genuine financial momentum from wherever they're starting. And if you're already part of the family, drop a comment below. Do you have money sitting in a savings account right now doing absolutely nothing? Let's get into it. So before we talk about the path from $1,000 to $10,000, let's address the biggest obstacle first, because the math is actually the easy part. The hard part is the psychology of why most people never start, even when they have the money and the access to do it. The first and most powerful barrier is what behavioral economists call the complexity illusion. Most people believe that investing is fundamentally complicated, that you need to understand earnings reports, economic cycles, interest rate projections, individual company analysis, and 1,000 other variables before you can responsibly put $1 into the market. This belief is not only wrong, it's the exact belief that benefits the financial industry most, because complexity is what creates the need for expensive advisors, managed funds with high fees, and trading platforms that make you feel like you need to be doing something. The truth is radically simpler. The Schwab S&P 500 Index Fund has an expense ratio of 0.02%, meaning you pay 20 cents per year per $1,000 invested. The Fidelity Zero Large Cap Index Fund charges nothing at all. Both track the same basic market. Both have delivered the market's historical average return. Neither requires you to know anything about individual stocks. You buy it once, set up automatic contributions, turn on dividend reinvestment, and leave it alone. That's it. The entire investing strategy fits in one sentence. The second barrier is what psychologists call loss aversion, the documented human tendency to fear losses roughly twice as intensely as we value equivalent gains. This means the prospect of watching your $1,000 temporarily drop to $850 during a market correction feels psychologically worse than the prospect of it growing to $1,200 feels good. And because market corrections are inevitable and normal, the S&P 500 has experienced an average intra-year decline of about 14% in any given year, even in years when it ended positive. People who don't understand this naturally interpret every dip as a disaster and either sell at a loss or never invest in the first place. Here's what the data actually shows. Someone who invested $1,000 at the worst possible time each year, the exact market peak, every single year for 20 years, still built significant wealth. Why? Because time in the market beats timing the market every single time, across every measured historical period. The third barrier is simply inertia. The day never feels perfect to start. There's always a reason to wait. The market feels too high, the economy feels uncertain, life feels busy. But according to the compound interest math, every year of delay at age 25 is roughly $5,000 to $7,000 in lost retirement wealth because of the compound growth that year's investment never gets to generate. Devin didn't wait for the perfect moment. He started on his lunch break. Okay, so here's the actual roadmap, the specific, realistic, no luck required path from $1,000 to $10,000. This isn't a get-rich-quick strategy, it's a get-rich-correctly strategy, and the math backs up every single step. Step 1 is choosing the right account before you choose any investment. This matters more than most people realize. If you invest $1,000 in a taxable brokerage account versus a Roth IRA, the difference over 30 years, purely from tax treatment, can be thousands of dollars. A Roth IRA lets your money grow completely tax-free, and withdrawals in retirement are also tax-free. In 2026, you can contribute up to $7,000 per year to a Roth IRA, as long as you have earned income and fall under the income limits. If you're starting with $1,000 and you're under those limits, a Roth IRA is almost always the right first account. Open one at Fidelity, Vanguard, or Schwab. All three are free to open, have no minimums on their index fund options, and take less than 15 minutes online. Step 2 is choosing what to actually buy, and this is where the complexity illusion gets destroyed instantly. According to Motley Fool's July 2026 Best Index Funds list, the Schwab S&P 500 Index Fund charges just 0.02% in fees and had gains of about 18% in 2025 and 11% through May 2026. The Fidelity Zero Large Cap Index Fund charges nothing and has performed nearly identically to the S&P 500. You don't need to pick individual stocks. You don't need sector funds. You don't need complicated portfolios. One of these two funds inside your Roth IRA is the entire strategy. You now own a small piece of 500 of the largest American companies simultaneously. Step 3 is turning on dividend reinvestment. Every broker has a one-click setting for this. When the fund pays dividends, instead of sitting in cash in your account, that money automatically buys more shares. More shares earn more dividends. More dividends buy more shares. This is compounding working in its most mechanical, automatic form. Step 4, and this is the move that turns $1,000 into $10,000 on a realistic timeline, is adding $83 a month automatically. Set up a recurring transfer from your checking account to your Roth IRA on the same day every month immediately after your paycheck hits. $83 a month is $2.75 a day. It's less than a daily coffee. At a conservative 7% annual return, $1,000 starting balance plus $83 a month reaches $10,000 in approximately 5 to 6 years. At the S&P 500's historical average, closer to 10%, that timeline shortens further. At the current index fund performance, the Schwab S&P 500 returned 18% in 2025 alone, though of course past performance doesn't guarantee future results. The trajectory can be even faster. Step 5 is the one most people underestimate. Do not touch it. Don't check it daily. Don't panic when the market drops 10% or 15% in a bad month. Don't sell. The data on this is clear and unambiguous. Individual investors who trade frequently consistently underperform the funds they're invested in because they buy high out of excitement and sell low out of fear. The fund does the work. Your job is to stay out of its way. Now, let's talk about what happens after you hit $10,000, because $10,000 is not the destination. It's the moment the math starts getting genuinely exciting. There's a concept in investing called the threshold effect, and it's when your compound growth starts producing returns large enough to feel meaningful in dollar terms. At $1,000, a 10% annual return is $100, meaningful but easy to dismiss. At $10,000, a 10% annual return is $1,000. $1,000 your money earned while you slept, worked, and lived your life. At $50,000, it's $5,000 a year. At $100,000, it's $10,000. The number doesn't change, the percentage doesn't change, but the dollar amount crossing your account starts feeling like something real. And psychologically, that's when it becomes almost impossible to stop. Devin is already feeling this. He's not at $10,000 yet, but he can see it coming, and it has changed how he thinks about money permanently. He's not gambling, he's not buying crypto on tips from Twitter, he's not looking for the next hot stock. He's watching the math work exactly the way the math was always going to work, and he cannot believe he waited as long as he did to start. Now, let's talk about the 3 things that will kill this strategy if you let them, because understanding what to avoid is just as important as knowing what to do. The first killer is lifestyle inflation eating the $83 a month before it gets invested. Set up the automatic transfer the day your paycheck hits, before you've had a chance to spend it, because money that hits your checking account first almost never makes it to investments. Automate it and remove the decision entirely. The second killer is stopping during a market downturn. This is the most common and most devastating mistake individual investors make. When the market drops 20%, the correct response, counterintuitive as it feels, is to keep buying, because you're now buying the same shares at a 20% discount. The people who stopped contributing during the 2020 COVID crash and the 2022 correction missed 2 of the fastest recoveries in market history. The third killer is chasing returns. Every few years, some asset class explodes. Crypto, meme stocks, AI plays, whatever the moment's obsession is. And the temptation to redirect your boring index fund money into the exciting thing is real. Resist it. The S&P 500's 10.68% average annual return since 1957 has outperformed the vast majority of professional fund managers, sophisticated trading strategies, and individual stock pickers over any given 10-year period. Boring is winning. Boring has always been winning. Marcus in Memphis still has $1,042 in his savings account. Devin in Nashville is approaching $6,000 and accelerating. 4 years from now, if both men do exactly what they're doing today, Devin will have crossed $10,000 and be compounding toward numbers that genuinely change his financial future. Marcus will have $1,091. Same starting point, one decision. That's the whole story. Drop a comment below. Are you starting from $1,000 or are you further along? Tell me where you are. I read every single comment. See you in the next one. Stay sharp, stay building.